Hi everybody, this is Christina Wooten from SedonaMedium.com, and I'm a certified psychic medium here in Sedona, Arizona, and I thought we would sit down and just connect with Spirit about the energies that are ahead for March 2019. Today is March 1st of 2019, and what we're going to be looking at is what are some of the influences that are at play, what are some of the lessons, what are some of the things that we can work on and integrate from a higher perspective in order to see and receive the greatest love, growth, and expression of highest self here on the earth plane for this particular month. So, and take a moment and just connect with Spirit, and then we'll see what we have in store. So as I come into March here with 2019, it's a period of trying to crack that nut, getting some continued clarity. So as we enter in the beginning of this particular time frame, we're still a little bit raw from all that cleansing that was happening in February of 2019, bringing up old patterns, looking at some dysfunction or looking at areas where you are being out of alignment with self-love. So it's creating that clarity in the field, in particular in the heart. But a lot of that stuff with the heart gets buried way, way deep in there. And so as it comes up, it takes a lot to pull those patterns, particularly the subconscious patterns, out so that we can become more aware and have this opportunity in a really beautiful, conscious way to create that healing. But that intense process is intense. So we're entering into March having, we're still kind of scraping the surface in a lot of that. And this is going to be a period of cleansing fear. So really moving through areas where you need to bring bravery and courage and strength and honesty and authenticity and expressing yourself as much and as beautifully as possible. So this is also an area where you might find communication might be a little bit raw around the edges, both with you and with others. So Spirit saying a certain amount of compassion and sensitivity for everybody, self included, would be great. But you may notice that perhaps your responses aren't as prepared, aren't as poised. It has more to do with instinct or just expressing raw, whatever's coming out. That can have a healing aspect to it as well. So really just honoring the process as it is, but and not overthinking it. So I feel if you kind of grab those situations and start to overthink it, it's like you're pulling taffy and get a little bit stuck in the taffy. So we want to really let go of that. But this is going to be a place where it's calling upon your greatest, highest self, bringing in the power, the focus, the drive to just continue to move through brick walls that feel like they're there, places where you're feeling like you're just taking that chisel to it and you're just not doing a whole lot. You're just still working on it, and it's taken a lot of effort and a lot of muscle power, and still the wall is there. It might be a few bricks or a few little pieces lighter, but the only way you're going to be able to move through some of these major areas is going to be with that courage and will to do so. But once we're free of fear, it's such a massive uplifter, even in different areas of life. So if you're working on something that would have to do with family, for example, or healing an aspect of that healing isn't just going to affect your family life. It's also going to affect how you come to everything in your future, because your energy is different. It's fresher, it's lighter, it's more open. So any healing we do isn't just isolated to one aspect. And so that's one of our beautiful gifts, is that even when you're focusing in one area, in particular in March, it's or having to focus on one area is kind of what I'm getting. Then the beautiful thing is it's just uplifting or helping you or supporting you some more. Bringing in as well that sense of trying to keep yourself active and involved in peaceful activities and in things that just get you moving, so that you're not having time to sit around and just stew in everything. Okay, so as you're bringing all of this stuff up and continuing to clear and cleanse, if you're just sitting there stewing, it's like that all that weight gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and we start to pick it apart and get the mind involved, and the mind wants to play around with it a bit and get like the taffy. And so instead it's trying to find these almost like release valves or pressure valves, where you're just allowing yourself to be active. Walks or really being out of nature seems to be really supportive with that. I'm also seeing art as a way to like express things that aren't quite coming together in words. There's a nice opportunity around that as well. This is also a time where things are coming back into balance for the yin and yang balance within the body. So from a healing perspective, yin yang is located throughout the body. It also has a really strong connection with our balance, has a strong connection with the throat chakra here. So we're going to be seeing a lot of things involving working through stuff in the throat chakra and patterns and healing and releasing that's happening there, detoxing as one might say. Additionally, it's going to be really important for you to just be aware that whatever needs to rebalance itself is going to happen naturally during this time period. It isn't for you to start getting your fingers involved and start setting goals about XYZ and making demands. This isn't the time for that. It's really going with the flow, being in the process. But whatever old energy or your approach that you've taken in the past is going to influence the areas that are going to be rebalancing for you. The beautiful thing is we're coming into, by the end of March, a little bit more centeredness. You might feel like you've got some frayed nerves for a period of time here, and we're just going to collectively breathe through it and be able to move forward. This is also not the most optimal energy for making really big life decisions. I feel we need to try and get through the month of March as much as possible. So if you're implementing more in March, I feel fine about that for the most part. You might have some challenges if you're trying to move during this period. So travel related, but in particular it's movement in like moving a location. So you might have some areas where that's not as easy, or things pop up and can be a little challenging there, but just continuing to move through that will be helpful. But otherwise it's really taking a look, letting yourself have the time that you need to heal as much as possible so that you can act on that clarity with clarity. Otherwise, if we're starting, acting in all of this triggered state while we're, releasing, we're letting go, we're purifying, we're in a very different energy than where we are once we've come full circle into integration with something. So as we're moving through March, we're moving through that integration process and moving a lot closer towards completion, which is beautiful. And we want to really be making as much as possible those bigger decisions once we're at that completion point, okay? Things might also just be a little bit harder to change. Maybe you're pushing a little bit in one area, or working on a work project, or trying to get some things moving through, and it's like it just gets a little bit slower, a little bit molasses. But just an opportunity for you to take a little bit of look at things and be very intentional, okay? This is a big healing time. I'm seeing how important it is for people to honor sound. So sound in the types of words that you're speaking, making sure that that is in authenticity with you from a spirit perspective. When we say things, we have an instant feedback once it comes out of our mouth. So once you speak it, immediately there can be the sense in the gut or in other areas where you're going, oh, that wasn't exactly true, or I didn't express that quite in the way that I wanted to. And it's not the mental, it's the body giving us this feedback. So it's important to look at your language use as you're continuing through this process and refining things, and listening for your own feedback. So when you're saying things, how is your body responding? Is it lightening up? Is it feeling open and flexible and joyful? Great. If it's feeling closed and cramped and something's not quite right, or it's just heavy, then part of that's how you're expressing yourself, or the words that you're using, or the words might be reflecting an old belief pattern that needs to be tweaked, shifted, as all part of this healing process. You can also use sound in a beneficial way as well, with sound healing, or bringing in some music, just ways to kind of lighten the load. Have fun with this healing and detoxing and processing. A lot of people get real heavy with it, and it is hard. It can be intense and challenging, and it's pushing all those buttons, but it doesn't have to be something that you're huddled in the fetal position. Part of that's the mind gets involved, and healing can be beautiful and fun, and purifying that whole process is, we get so much more insight into who we are as we become more and more continuously aware. And every time we release that old layer, we're fresher, we're in a higher frequency, and we're even closer to spirit. Even our challenges, we have a tendency to move into a deeper sense of trust and surrender and alignment. And those energies are what bring us the greatest connection with our higher self. So there's wonderful options and beautiful things that are happening and unfolding if you can just reorient the mind from focusing on some of the things that might need a lot more organization, or the fear that's popping up, or the concern that's happening, or whatever you're fretting about in the moment, and instead just reorient and shift and let things move through without having to attach to them, or make a specific proclamation about what this means about you, or what it means about others. Or I just think things are going to be a little bit emotionally still all over the place, and moving through. Just continue to allow that process to unfold. You can also ask your guides to provide you a little bit of extra insight into what led to the creation of some of these patterns or belief systems that you might be uncovering in this process. And that can bring new enlightenment around not creating it again. So ask for a little bit of extra help and extra support. Finally, I'm seeing green as being a really healing color. So people bringing in that, or spending time outdoors, bringing in some plants or some greenery, or just really trying to connect with that color vibration is one that is also uplifting and supportive during this period too. For if you're interested in crystals, I'm seeing rose quartz as being one that will just help people move through this time with a little bit more ease. Okay, so thank you for joining me. If you'd like to connect, if you'd like to have a reading or do some healing work, feel free to reach out to me at sedonamedium.com, and also subscribe to this channel, and make sure you're checking out some of the teachings that we're doing on Facebook and Facebook Live events at facebook.com/Sedona Medium. Bright blessings to you, and enjoy March.